I'd just like us to do a round of introductions so we all know who each other are. You are a specially curated group of churches. Assemblywoman Shavonda Sumter got some money in the budget for freedom schools to be funded in the state of New Jersey, and she asked me to get some churches to participate, and I've asked all of you. So because the screen tends to shift, I'm going to do these introductions by what I call mutual invitation. I will introduce myself and invite someone, and you can introduce somebody in a box that you see. Amen. I am Carol Lynn Patterson. I am the Chief Evangelism Officer of Setting the Captives Free Ministries. Most of you know that I'm very passionate about teaching and learning, and I'm excited about this whole Freedom School endeavor. And I am going to invite Bishop Wallace.
Sean Wallace is my name. I serve as the pastor of St. John's Baptist Church in Scotch Plains. Oh, and I'll ask Pastor Glover.
I am Bernadette Glover, and I'm the pastor of St. Paul in Montclair, and I'm glad to be on. And let's see, I'm going to ask someone whose last name begins with a T. All right. I'm going to invite, let's see, Carmen Chambers.
Good evening, everyone. As Dr. Glover said, my name is Carmen Chambers. I am a trustee at St. Paul Baptist Church. Quite excited about the concept of the Freedom School. And Dr. Glover is our senior pastor at St. Paul, my pastor. I will invite is it Dr. Brickhouse? Is it a doctor?
It's Joseph Brickhouse. No, it's good evening, everyone. I am Pastor Joseph Brickhouse of the Faith Hope Baptist Church in New Brunswick, New Jersey, and I am glad to see everyone tonight. Okay, I'm going to tag Taisha Jackson.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Taisha Jackson. I'm the coordinator at the Nandor Tekra, and I'm here on behalf of Pastor Bart. And I'm going to choose, I see Adrian Bickham.
Hi, good evening. Yes, I'm Lynette Adrian Bickham. I'm a lay minister at Fountain Baptist Church in Summit, New Jersey, and I'm extremely happy to be here and to be in this great company of people. And I nominate Pastor Francois.
Hello. Thank you so much. Willie Francois, pulling the southern part of our state in Atlantic County at Mount Zion Baptist Church. I will turn it over to my beloved state president, Brother Lassiter.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Randall Lassiter, the pastor of Calvary Baptist Church in Paterson, New Jersey. I'm glad to be on the line with everyone this evening. And I'm going to pass it on to Russell iPhone.
Let's see. Can you hear me?
Yes.
How you doing? I'm Russell, a trustee at First Baptist Church in Linden, and I'm glad to be on board. Now I don't know how to pass it on.
I'll go. My name is Eddie Laporte. I'm the executive director of the New Jersey Office of Faith-Based Initiatives. And who hasn't gone? I haven't been keeping tabs. Cynthia, did you go?
No, I did not. I'm Cynthia from First Baptist Church in Linden. That's just about it.
Okay. Is that everyone, Carol?
That is everyone, Eddie.
Okay. You want me to start?
Are you going to say anything about CDF, or are you just going to start with the grant?
No, I'm gonna do an overview of CDF and then
Go on and get your thing on. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Eddie Laporte. I'm the executive director of the New Jersey Office of Faith-Based Initiatives. And I forgot the brother who said he lives in New Brunswick. I live in New Brunswick too, or you have a church in New Brunswick. I live in New Brunswick, so maybe we can connect. My contact information is in the chat. So how did we get here? So I think about 2 years ago, one of the pastors, Pastor Clayton, up in Patterson, said, "Hey, Eddie, we think that there's some money for Freedom Schools. We don't know where it's at in the governor's budget." I said, "Well, who got the money in the budget?" And he said, "Assemblywoman Sumter." So I reached out to Assemblywoman Sumter, and she was like, "It's been approved, but we're not sure where it landed." And so I reached out to some people, and I found out that the money was in DCA, and it was for $1 million. And it was a very exciting opportunity because it was the first. So it was the first time that New Jersey has ever identified any resources to support Freedom Schools for as long as they've been in place. And the longest tenured Freedom School in New Jersey is 15 years, right? And so that was the first time. And so I reached out to DCA, contacted the correct people. I played as a liaison between DCA and the potential grantees. There's 5 of them, and they weren't sure who the Freedom Schools were. They didn't know what Freedom Schools was about. I was getting educated on Freedom Schools. I kind of heard about it, but I really wasn't sure what it was all about. And we got them connected, and they each received their grant spread out over 2 years, and now they're beginning to go into year 2 for the funding. Part of the process is I reached out to Dr. Hill, Diane Hill from Rutgers University. She connected me to Janae Johnson from the governor's policy team. Janae Johnson and Assemblywoman Sumter and Dr. Carol, Reverend Carol Patterson are real champions of Freedom School. And we decided to visit each of the Freedom Schools. And over the summertime, we visited the Freedom Schools, and there were some things that we wanted in place to assure that the funding may be able to continue. And one of the things we wanted to have in place was impact. We wanted to make sure that there was a level of impact and accountability so that legislators can receive the data that they need in order to continue funding the organization. So that was the beginning of my foray into Freedom Schools. And last year, the Office of Faith-Based Initiatives wrote a grant supporting the 5 Freedom Schools. It was like $50,000. They were already in place. They've already implemented the product. They already have students. They already have a facility. The issue was, how are you going to figure out the impact? How are you going to measure the impact? What is the role of the servant leaders compared to the role of certified teachers and retired teachers and grad students getting their master's in education? So there was a lot of questions that we had that going into year 2, we put into place. So we had a meeting with the CDF, the Children's Defense Fund Freedom School leadership team. We decided to put together an event, and I think it was June, if I'm not mistaken, June of 2023. to begin to educate the faith community of what their possible role is. And one of the things we wanted to do is expand freedom schools throughout the state of New Jersey. So Assemblywoman Sumter's vision for freedom schools is to at minimum try to get one freedom school in each of the Abbott school districts throughout the state. That's number one. We only have 5 right now. And so in year 2, we wanted to go from 5 freedom schools to 10 freedom schools. And I think we have that. In year 3, we want to go from 10 freedom schools to 15 freedom schools. And in year 4, we want to go from 15 freedom schools to 20 freedom schools. I think we're going to reach the 20 before year 4. And we got to make sure that this is not a top-heavy North Jersey initiative. So we're really trying to reach out to our brothers and sisters in South Jersey so that we can pull them in and have an equitable distribution of the resources, because there are school systems down in South Jersey that are suffering just as much as there are school systems in North Jersey. And so when we had this event in June, Educated the Faith Community, a number of organizations applied for the Freedom School through the Children's Defense Fund. One of the things that organizations need to do in order to receive the funding from the state is they need to be a certified freedom school through the Children's Defense Fund. I don't care if you're going to name yourself a freedom school. If you don't have that letter from the Children's Defense Fund, you're not a New Jersey freedom school. And that's the position that we're taking. That's how we're going to move forward. You also have to have the resources to go to the mandatory trainings in January at Tennessee at the Alex Haley Farm. And then there's another mandatory training in March that the servant leaders need to go to learn the curriculum. And then you have to purchase the curriculum. All of that comes out to about $10,000 that you've got to be able to provide. And so the struggle for the 5 freedom schools prior to this year was, how do we come up with that money? They had to cobble it together, donations, pray on it, and they made their way down there. And so one of the things that we're going to start doing is we're releasing a planning grant. The Office of Faith-Based Initiatives, in support of the Governor's Policy Office and Rutgers University and Dr. Carol Patterson, we helped me put together a planning grant. Because here's the deal. We don't want to give money to an organization that's never implemented a freedom school to then fail. We're not in a position to have that happen. The state of New Jersey believes that freedom schools, believes in the promise of freedom schools, believes in the promise that that what the freedom schools do over the summertime is an asset when it comes to reducing the learning loss of children of color over the summertime. They believe that. They don't know that it works. They just believe it. It is up to you guys here, and the 5 original freedom schools to make them know the promise of freedom schools. And the only way we can make them know the promise of freedom school is to create evaluation protocols that increase the proficiency of academic excellence of the participants of the freedom school that are participating in the summertime, and build out a homework and tutorial program that follows those students throughout the academic year by implementing an after-school homework and tutorial program. And it will be your responsibility, along with the parents, to make sure that little Eddie and little Carol continue to progress proficiently in math, reading, science, history, and writing, right? Because if we don't have that data, we don't have anything to fight for the future of freedom school funding. So that's kind of like where we're at. And we have like a 2-year window to make this happen. So let me just share my screen real quick before I do that. So Freedom Schools provide a summer and after-school enrichment through a multicultural program model that supports K-12 students and their families. And we're going to talk about, what the age group should really be. Freedom Schools offer engagement through both a 6-week summer school and after-school literacy and homework tutorial program. And we need organizations to partner with schools, faith and community-based organizations, local colleges and universities, juvenile detention center facilities, if that's applicable. And we also trying to enhance the children's motivation to read and make them feel good about learning. The curriculum that you're going to purchase, if you decide to go down this road, are reading materials that have been sourced by the Children's Defense Fund. So you can't make this up. You can't just make up a curriculum. You're going to get taught how to implement the curriculum. You're going to buy the books that you're going to read, and you're going to engage the children or the participants in reading and comprehension in the morning aspect of Freedom School. In the afternoon of the summertime program, we are expecting Freedom Schools to collect the final report cards of all the program participants, work with their certified teachers to develop a lesson plan to help Sean and Adrian and Russell improve their proficiency in academic deficiencies that they have when they graduated the 5th grade, the 6th grade, or the 7th grade. And then you have to then, right, with all the support that the state is going to give you, make sure that Sean, Adrian, and Carol and Eddie's proficiency has improved from May to the end of the Freedom School program. And we will help you figure out what evaluation mechanisms you're going to use to make that happen. Now, this is not summer school either, right? We're not trying to make this, kids want to have fun. And so we're trying to help you figure out how can you teach these academic courses in the summertime in a way that allows them to apply the knowledge practically so that they're learning and doing and having fun at the same time. There's a million ways to do that, right? But you got to have the personnel in place to make that happen. You just can't have Sister Mary and Brother Bob, because they're elders, thinking they can transfer knowledge in a way that's fun, exciting, charismatic, and dynamic. That's not going to happen. So what we're asking you is, we're asking you to hire teachers for the afternoon sessions of the intensive academic programming, but not make it such a drudgery situation that no one wants to go to Freedom Schools. You've got to make it fun. In the morning, the Freedom School curriculum is Harambe. There's a lot of singing in the beginning. It's a real motivational part, and then they go out into breakout rooms, and then they have their readings, and then you have servant leaders that are college students that look like the children that are in the Freedom School program, so that they can begin to look up and say, hey, that looks like my brother, that looks like my sister, that looks like my uncle, that looks like my aunt, right? And they can see that there are young people that are interested in the well-being of their academic life. So that's the morning. And then the afternoon has to be something where it's fun. There's got to be a field trip in the afternoon. Suggestions might be the Museum of Natural History in New York, where you can incorporate science and art in that field trip. There's the Newark Museum. There is the Audubon Society. You got to have one amusement park in there over the summertime, because they're going to want that. And so these trips need to give them a global perspective on how they can apply the newfound understanding of the knowledge that they didn't get when they were in school the previous year, and then they graduated. So that's that part. So Any questions about that? Any questions about that so far? No? Okay, great. So I'm gonna move on to our presentation. So everybody can see my screen. This is a Prezi presentation. All right,
Yes.
so tonight what we're gonna do is we're gonna, I just did an overview of Freedom Schools, probably touch on some other areas. We're gonna review the grant guidelines and we're gonna access the application just so that you have an understanding of what needs to happen, right? So, like I said, Assembly Sumter is a big champion. So is Reverend Dr. Carol Patterson. So is Janae Johnson. So is the governor's office. Because if the governor's office didn't bless this, we wouldn't have the money to be able to support Freedom Schools. And what she wants to do is expand the Freedom Schools from 5 to 20 and create at least one Freedom School in each of the Abbott school districts and begin to draft legislation that cements Freedom School funding for the future. But we can't do that without the data, right? So here's the deal. We want to be able to create Freedom Schools that focus on the following concepts: high quality academic and character building, parent and family involvement, which is great. You can't feed the child without taking care of the parents, right? We got to be able to create a parent academy that provides access to resources to address the needs that the parents have, right? And it doesn't mean that you have to do the actual implementation of the service delivery, but you need to be well connected enough to refer Eddie to, I don't know, substance abuse prevention, or Carol and her Carol to mental health services, and another person to rental assistance, and another person to food security resources, and another person. So you have to be well connected into community. We want you to improve the concept of civic engagement and social action, that these individuals in the Freedom School and the parents understand their responsibility to engage in civic discourse, to understand what that role is. And it doesn't always have to be about politics. It can be about community organizing. It can be about going and cleaning up a lot that's an eyesore in the community. Whatever civic engagement they need to participate in, you need to help them figure that out. This is an intergenerational servant leadership development where you're developing the leadership skills of college students, grad students, and giving them leadership opportunities to learn how to lead our people moving forward. This is what it's all about, right? There's a concept of nutrition, health, and mental health services, right? Cooking, how to cook good, how to get access to healthcare, demystify the issue of mental health services. The Freedom School is a culturally relevant model where it focuses on supporting the self-esteem and building of the self-esteem of little boys and girls of color, because their self-esteem, a lot of them are non-existent, and we've got to, through Freedom Schools, help begin to nurture and develop that. And that's why it's so important to create the parent component so that we can engage with parents and teach them or give them suggestions on what they can do at home to allow to build the self-esteem of a child. And then we want to create the love of reading over the summertime and lessen the learning loss. Okay. So these are the 5 Freedom Schools in the state of New Jersey. These are the organizations that have been doing it with no support. So it's hard for them. It's hard for the state of New Jersey, and it's hard for them to say, hey, how in the world are you going to fund new Freedom Schools if they've never done it? If they've never done it, how do you know that what they're going to do resonates with their targeted community. Just because you want to do a freedom school doesn't mean people want to participate in the freedom school, because you want to know why? A lot of people don't know what the heck a freedom school is all about. So we got a freedom school in Camden, right? We got a freedom school in, we got 2 freedom schools in Newark. Cross Community is one of them. Shiloh CDC is another one. So we have Camden, we have 2 in Mercer County, 1 in Ewing and 1 in Trenton. We have 1 in Newark right now, which is the New Ark Freedom School through Rutgers University. And then we have 1 in Patterson. The oldest one is Shiloh CDC at 15 years. I think St. Luke comes in at like 10 years. Camden comes in at 9 years. Cross Community just is relatively new. They've been around for about 2 or 3 years. Rutgers Newark is about 7 or 8 years. So there's a lot of knowledge acquired from these organizations in how to work with freedom schools. And the new one, Cross Community Inc., was a freedom school national trainer. So it's not like they don't know how to pull off a freedom school. It's that this is the first time that they've had one and Ewing as a standalone. Okay, so the planning grant that we're releasing, the Office of Faith-Based Initiatives, is a capacity building grant. Why is that important? Because we believe that if you've never implemented a freedom school, there's absolutely no way you can prove to us today that you need a grant for $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000. We don't even know if you can get 30 students. You think you can, but you don't even know that yourself. We don't even know if you have a facility that has Wi-Fi, that has air conditioning, that has the multiple breakout rooms, that has outdoor space so the kids can have recess. We don't know any of that. We don't know if you've identified your servant leaders. We don't know if you have any teachers that you can identify that would be willing to work the 6 or 7 or 8 week summer program. We don't know if you have the staff in place to manage the day-to-day operations of a freedom school. We have no idea what you have in place. We don't know if you're connected enough in your community to have the necessary key partners that need to be in place: a local college or university, a health facility, access to recreational activities. And we believe strongly that an organization that has never implemented a freedom school needs to prototype and test it to make sure that it resonates with the community. So what we're asking for freedom schools is you have to identify 30 students. Now the age range, it's got to go from, it can either be grammar school, middle school, or high school. That age range you're going to have to figure out based on the need of your local community, right? But you have to have a minimum of 30. Anything under 30, you can't implement the freedom school, right? We won't allow it. You can't become a certified freedom school through the Children's Defense Fund, and you can't purchase the training. You just can't do it. So you got to have 30 students. The challenge for a lot of freedom schools is getting the 30 students. You'd be surprised how challenging it is to get 30 students. If you're working with high school students, that's the hardest population to work with. 1, they're in high school. 2, they're in high school. And 3, they're in high school. They got a lot of things going on. They're being introduced to new things. There's new relationships happening. There's travel baseball. There's travel basketball. There's travel sports. There's getting in shape. There's hanging out, because that's all they've looked. A lot of them have looked up to hanging out on the block like their older brothers and sisters have, right? And so if you're going to deal with the high school students, how you design the program needs to benefit them in ways that it's transactional for them to want to participate in your freedom school. So, you may have to introduce trade skills building. You may have to introduce internship and apprenticeship opportunities. You may have to introduce college tours and college visitations over the summertime. What you do for high school is not what you're going to do for grammar school and middle school. So you need to think about that, all right? Again, we're looking for you to create an intensive summer academic program, of course, and we need to have you think out a year-long homework and tutorial program. And how is that going to look? What's the staffing that you need? What's the support that you need to have in place? How are you going to get the kids from whatever school they're going to you? How are you going to track the children that participated in the Freedom School program over the summertime? Like, how are you going to get them to participate in your after-school and tutorial? And that's why it's critical that you implement the parental component, because it's the parents, hopefully, that is the reason why the kids get to your program. You also have to think about meals, summer meals. If you're doing something in the summertime, it's breakfast, lunch, and a snack. During the academic school year, it's snack and dinner, right? So you got to think about what that looks like. Classification. If your Freedom School is not part of a year-long program, then you need to apply for summer camp classification. If your Freedom School is part of a year-long program, then you don't have to classify for summer camp classification, right? And that's key, because if you're just doing something in the summertime, it's considered a summer camp, and you have to classify as that. And that's through the state, and we will help you figure all that out. The Parent Academy, over the summertime and then during the academic school year. How are you going to do that? What training opportunities or lessons are you going to provide them? How are you going to nurture those relationships with those parents so that they can begin to trust and believe in you? A lot of houses of worship, Freedom Schools, in my mind, the way I look at it, Freedom Schools can make houses of worship relevant beyond Sunday if it's done properly. If you're going to use the space during the academic school year, that means you're open in the community. That means that parents could begin to say, hey, I'm going over here on a Tuesday, or I'm going over here on a Wednesday. Hey, I'm going over here on a random Thursday. They have support services, or they can refer us to people. And so it helps religious institutions become more relevant, because I don't know about you, but I've been traveling up and down the state. I've been in this position for 22 years in the state of New Jersey, and many faith-based institutions open on Sunday, maybe on Wednesday, but the rest of the time, they're padlocked. And so you got to really think about that. What does that mean for your institution? What does that mean for your overhead? What does that mean for your staffing? What does that mean for your security? There's a lot to think about here, other than, oh, I want to implement the Freedom School. And then you got to figure out who your stakeholders are, that I discussed about that earlier. In order to become a CDF in order to apply for the grant, for the development grant, you either have to have applied and received certification from the Children's Defense Fund. The application was October. If you didn't apply in October, you will use this grant to prepare you to apply for certification for the CDF Freedom School. Right? Become certified, use a proportion of the funding to get you to the training in January, position yourself to implement and receive funding to implement the pilot project in the summer of 2025. This is gonna be a long road for many of you, and the concern that we have at the state is, do you have the bandwidth and do you have the intestinal fortitude to carry this through? Or is this something of a passing fancy for you? Do you have the commitment of your religious leaders, of your community, to say this is going to happen in the summer of 2025 for those that didn't get certified by the Freedom Schools in November of this year, and for those that applied that were certified for November of this year? This funding can help you position yourself to implement the pilot project in the summer of 2024, all right? So that's kind of like so there's going to be some that aren't going to do anything until 2025, but there's a lot of planning here. And Reverend Dr. Carol Patterson is the person that you need to lean to in order to get you in a place where you can implement the pilot project if you're going to do something in 2024 and position you for those that are not certified to be able. She'll complete the application for you. She'll support. She'll connect you with the 5 organizations that you're going to receive mentoring from. She'll figure out the evaluation. Of course, there's a fee for that. And with our funding, you can include consultant development that will be responsible for, writing the OFBI grant for you, writing the CDF application for you in October, assuring that you have the evaluation protocols in place, assuring that you have the resources of the state of New Jersey in place when you begin to implement. Now that line item, we'll talk about it, can be $2,500, and that she will cover all of that. But that's between you and her, and you got to figure that out. But we will support that expenditure. All right. Let me see. All right. So for the pilot project, you're going to get $10,000. My God, that's not a lot of money. No, it's not a lot of money, but we don't even know if you can do this. So it is a lot of money because we're banking on an idea. We have no idea if you have the facility. We have no idea if you have access to the teachers. We have no idea if you have the student leaders. We have no idea if you have the capacity. We have no idea other than some of you applied for the CDF certification and you got it, and some of you haven't even done that and think you want to do a freedom school and think you want to get involved in implementing a program that's going to impact the lives of young children of color in the state of New Jersey, right? So it's a $10,000 grant. It's enough. Let me tell you something. The 5 freedom schools didn't even get that. They didn't even get that. So, you gotta put things in perspective. For 15 years, they never got any support from the state. And we're saying, here's $10,000, and let's see where your planning is at. Let's see what your strategy is. Let's see what your design is. Let's see what your parent involvement curriculum is going to look like. Let's see all of this before the state moves in and says, hey, we want to fund you at $50,000 to do this. We got to get you to that place where the state says, yeah, we want to give them $50,000 or $25,000 or $35,000 for a 6-week summer program. And then if you do well there, then the state can say, okay, we reviewed your after-school tutorial homework program. Here is $50,000 for a year-long program. Let's see what you can do with that, right? So it's about building up your capacity and building up the relationship with the state as a funder, because you have the data that you're going to be able to provide to the state of New Jersey, saying that you were able to increase the proficiency of the students in the Freedom School program in English, math, science, history, and writing over the academic school year. And that because they participated in the Freedom School summer program, because they participated in the Freedom School homework and tutorial program, their proficiency level with children their age in that school district is above the medium proficiency level of kids that age group in that district. That's what we're shooting for. That's what we're shooting for. All right. You must attend the CDF training and implement the pilot project. Okay. So how do we get to the application? So I've been with the state for 22 years. I don't even know my own website. So I Googled the New Jersey Office of Faith-Based Initiatives. You can write this down if you want, but I just Googled the New Jersey Office of Faith-Based Initiatives, and it takes me to the website, and I'll do a quick tutorial about that in a few minutes. In order to access the application online, you have to go to www.sage.nj.gov. Listen, do not use Google Chrome. When SAGE stands for Systems Applications for Grant, Systems Applying for Grants Electronically, SAGE, Systems Applying for Grants Electronically. The acronym is SAGE. And everything is done online. Everything is done online. So there's a couple of things that you need to do in order to gain access to that. And Dr. Reverend Carol Patterson is well-versed in how to make that happen. Here's the deal. Listen, do not use Google Chrome. See, it's in red here. only use Microsoft Edge, Safari, oh, that's a typo, Safari and Firefox when you're accessing the online application process. Do not use Google Chrome. Why? And tell your people who you're working with that's gonna, well, Dr. Carol Patterson knows about this, but if you use Google Chrome for whatever the reason, and you go in there and you upload stuff on your end, it looks like it's uploaded, but when you submit it and we get it, it's blank. And then your application doesn't get read, and then you get mad at me, and I'm like, well, it's not my fault. I told you not to use Google Chrome. So Microsoft Edge, Safari, or Firefox. All right. Things to remember. The application, when you do apply for it, doesn't have an automatic save feature. So no matter what page you're on, before you leave it, always hit save. The last thing you want to do is upload a lot of documents and then you move off that page and then everything is lost and you got to do it again. Any questions you might have, I put my contact information in the chat, but it's my cell phone number. It's the best way to get me. It's on that number. And you can email me because I respond real quickly from email as well. All right, so now we're going to go live. We're going to go live real quick. All right, so let me see where we're at. Okay, so when you come to, when you Google the New Jersey Office of Faith-Based Initiatives, it'll bring you up to our homepage, right? And to get access, you can get access to the application by coming up to the top and clicking grant opportunities, or scrolling down to the bottom and finding spotlights and clicking grant opportunities. If you want to, if you look at the column to the right that says resources, if you want to get on our mailing list, you click Instant Connect, and Instant Connect creates this form here that you fill out and you submit, and then you're automatically added to our email distribution, where you will get information on other funding sources, other training opportunities, and the like. All right. So when you click grant opportunities, you come down to the bottom, you'll see grant guidelines. These are all our grant guidelines: social innovation guidelines, Project Atlas guidelines, special projects guidelines, the social enterprise entrepreneurship development guidelines. And this is the one that you really want to focus on: New Jersey Freedom School Innovation Guidelines, right? And I'm gonna click on that in a second. If you scroll down, you'll see a schedule of webinars that we have scheduled for all of our funding opportunities. The first one is, I'm gonna do this again. This is a great practice run for me. So I'm gonna do this again on December 5th at 12 o'clock. It'll be recorded and it'll be uploaded on our website, but I'm reporting this one and I'm gonna give it to Reverend Dr. Patterson so that she can share it with you guys, all right? Please don't distribute this. Keep it within your circles, all right? If you're interested on the other funding opportunities, here they are. But I think you want to focus on Freedom School, the planning grant. I don't think you want to focus on anything else. If you scroll further down, there's supporting documents, the board resolution that you have to upload. There is a logic model that you have to implement, and I'll explain all of that. In the application process, we ask you for congressional districts and legislative districts. Click these links and it will get you to your congressional district. Click this link and it will get you to the legislative district. Part of the process to apply for a grant and do business with the state of New Jersey is that you have to upload 5 documents: charity registration number and proof that that number is valid, compliant, or if your organization's overall budget is under $10,000, that means $9,999 and below, you need to upload your 990 EZ. That is critical that you begin to think about that, right? So the application is due on February 23rd. There's absolutely no way you're going to be able to get your 990 EZ uploaded by February, because it's the beginning of the new year and the tax season just started. So we're asking you to upload your 990 EZ from 2021. Not the postcard, because the postcard is a fast and easy way for your accountant not to do the line item expenditures. We need the 990 EZ because we need to see that your agency budget Now listen to me. In order to receive funding from the state of New Jersey, we do not fund religious institutions. We do not fund churches, mosques, temples, synagogues. We don't. We never have, and we're not gonna do it. So in order for you to apply for this grant, you need to create a separately incorporated 501c3 nonprofit institution. Now, Reverend Dr. Patterson can help you with that process as well. You have about 10 months to get that. It takes about 8 months to get your 501c3 determination letter. If you start that process now, if you negotiate with Dr. Patterson now, she can begin that process. So let's say the application is due February 23rd, 2024. The award letters won't be released until July 1 of 2024, right? You have 90 days from July 1 to upload all your required documents. So 90 days, 3 months from July 1, July, August, September, you have until October to upload all your documents. So if you begin the process now, if you begin the process like before the end of this year, by October of next year, you should be correct. And then we could enter into contracting with you. So it's really dependent upon how urgent do you really want this? And did I just scare you into not even going down this path because of everything that I just said and the accountability that's going to be asked of you, okay? So if you click on webinars on the top, or if you come to the navigation bar and click webinars, it'll take you to this page, the webinar page. This is key. This is the first thing that you need to do. The first thing you need to do is you need to, if you've never applied for a grant through the Department of State Office of Faith-Based Initiatives, you need to register in Sage. So this first webinar on the right, it says first time applying for a grant in Blue Sage. You need to do that now, right? I mean, you could do it whenever you want, but I don't suggest you do it the week of the application due date because it takes about 5 business days to get access, authorization to get access to Sage. And there's only one person in the Department of State that gives that authorization. And if she's out sick for whatever the reason, you may be out of luck. This is an 8-minute webinar. It tells you step by step what you need to do. And I can tell when somebody doesn't watch the webinar based on the question they asked me, because based on the question they asked me, I know they didn't watch the webinar because I've answered all the questions in the webinar. And so you want to begin that process. The next webinar that you want to begin to work towards is step 1, organization information. So to make this process easier, I'm asking everybody, so there's 5 documents, right? I said there's charity registration, there's the Division of Business Revenue number, and the Division of Certificate that you have to upload. There's your 501c3 determination letter, there's your certificate of incorporation, and then there's your certificate of standing. Now, to alleviate the stress, what I'm asking people is insert zeros where you're asked to upload a number and upload a document that says something like this. We understand that if we're awarded a grant, we will not be able to enter into contracting until all required documents are uploaded. It's a place saver for you. So I would do that, I would register first, upload, follow this webinar here that says step 1, put zeros where there's where you're supposed to put a number, and wherever you're supposed to upload something, upload this universal generic a note that's going to placehold you. Now, when you get awarded, we're going to say to you, okay, you got 90 days to upload all this stuff. And if you don't upload it in 90 days and you can't get it uploaded for whatever the reason, you will not get funded. We will deny the grant and go to the next organization in line. All right. So that's key. Oh. That's key. All right. So this is the grant guideline. So when you go to grant opportunities and you scroll down to grant opportunities and you click on Freedom School, this is the grant guidelines that come up, right? Eligibility requirements, like, look, ineligible. We don't fund houses of worship. We don't fund public schools, charter schools, or private schools. We just don't do it. And so in order for you to get access to this fund, to this grant and future Freedom School funding, you need to create a separately incorporated nonprofit. Now, if you're in the same town, like in Patterson, and maybe you need to work together, I'm just using Patterson as an example. Let's say New Brunswick. The brother lives in New Brunswick, he's got a church in New Brunswick. Let's say I got a church in New Brunswick and we want to do a Freedom School. It doesn't make sense to do 2 Freedom Schools in a town as small as New Brunswick. Maybe it makes sense to come together as two houses of worship and create one Freedom School that provides the services for the entire city. Something like that you may want to think about. But a lot of us want to be lone wolves and we want to be able to do it ourselves. But we want to think about doing stuff like that, right? The Freedom School grant is $10,000. We're looking to fund 10 Freedom Schools for a planning grant, right? To get you to a place where you can get access to $50,000. But you got to prove that you're in position to implement the pilot project, and this planning grant gets you in position. And utilizing Reverend Dr. Carol Patterson to get you there is key, right? The planning grant is designed to support organizations that are interested in launching their Freedom School. Part of this process is that you need to develop a Freedom School leadership team. A Freedom School leadership team is comprised of no less than 5 volunteers from your organization that believe in the vision and the promise that Freedom Schools can bring. And that's the team that the leader of the religious institution or the nonprofit will be using to help him or her flush out the design and get in position to implement the pilot project, either in the summer of 2024, if you've been certified a Freedom School, or the summer of 2025, if you haven't been certified a Freedom School as of November 2023. So the leadership team is critical, right? Because it's just, you can't do this by yourself. It's too much, right? The leadership team will be instrumental in attaining community feedback, because this is a team that's going to try to figure out, hey, does this community need a Freedom School? Like, do we have enough children that participate in this? Did we pick the right age group who should really participate? What is the support of the community? The leadership team may help you do focus groups. Dr. Carol Patterson can help you coordinate that. The planning grant will be used to assist the organization to incorporate high-quality academic and character building, enrichment, parent and family involvement, civic and community engagement, intergenerational servant leadership, and access to high-quality nutrition, health, and mental health well-being services, right? And so it's key that you have a leadership team together. Now, the application is due February 23rd, 2024. Now, listen, it's November. I released this application November 1st. It's November 14th. You have more than enough time to try to figure this out and submit a very good competitive application. More than enough time. And you got my time hostage if you want it. I will set up Zoom meetings in the evenings. I will work with Dr. Carol Patterson to help you get and upload a competitive application between now and 2 weeks prior to the application due date. 2 weeks prior to the application due date, you don't have my time like that. So you got to manage your time, because I'm telling you, I'm available to help you, and I'm available to support Dr. Carol Patterson as she's helping you guys try to figure this out, right? So the matrix, or what the application is asking you to do, is real simple. There's project summary. Now, there's these bullets here, and the project summary is saying, hey, answer these bullets. Provide an overview of the organization, its name, the mission of the organization, as well as the proposed activities, the SMART goals, the impact that the program is designed to achieve. This needs to align with the logic model. So there's a lot of stuff. This project summary is the last thing that you need to be doing, because if you're going to, when everything else is written, then you pull from the content of the narrative that you write, right? Organizational capacity. This is focusing on the capacity of the organization to position it to be able to implement the Freedom School. Describe the leadership makeup of the organization. its board of directors, or its advisory boards. Who are they? What skills do they bring to the organization? How long have they served? How many times does the board meet? Who comprises the Freedom School leadership team? That's key. Does the organization have an existing facility that's ADA compliant? Does the organization have a smart facility with Wi-Fi, whiteboards, laptops for program participants? Just because you don't have that doesn't mean that we won't provide you the funding to get that. But we want to know what your technological capacity is before we invest a whole bunch of money into you. And then if you say, hey, we need this technology, we will support you with resources to make that happen. And then you also need to be able to know how to use the whiteboards and the laptops and how many laptops you need and stuff like that. What is the ability of the organization to provide nutritious meals to the participants, right? Does the organization have a list of qualified teachers that may be willing to teach various subjects designed to improve the academic shortcomings of its program participants beyond the Freedom School portion of the day? Like, where are you at with all that, right? Listen, now that the state of New Jersey is offering resources, there's a level of accountability that organizations need to provide. And the accountability is in this structure. Then you have to write a statement of need. How do you know a Freedom School is wanted in your community? How do you know it's a service that the targeted population wants addressed? Like, how do you know that? Or are you sitting on your high perch saying, hey, we think because we know better what's needed in the community? It doesn't necessarily work like that. I've seen programs that operate from that mindset get funded and nobody goes to the program and then they get defunded. So the statement of need has to be clear. Have you access the Human Services Advisory Council's needs assessment to assure that the social issue or the need for academic summer enrichment program is an issue that the county has addressed? And if it hasn't through its needs assessment program, what makes you so sure that the targeted community wants Freedom Schools? That's key. And the state wants to know that. Right? Why fund an organization that has no idea that the community does not want a Freedom School, as opposed to an organization that did its due diligence, looked at existing data, did a couple of focus groups, and was able to determine that, yeah, hey, we did 5 focus groups, we talked to community stakeholders, and we educated them on what a Freedom School, and yes, they want a Freedom School. That's the sort of stuff that we want to support. Then we need a statement of collaboration. Who are your 3 collaborating partners? Indicate the ways which each collaborating partner will recruit program participants, right? And how will they help you move your mission and vision of your Freedom School forward? Like, what role do they have to play in this? Like, if you're going to provide nutritional services, if you're going to refer folks to mental health, well, partner with a mental health facility. Partner with a program that provides reduces food security. Partner with another program that deals with, I don't know, name it, you find it. And so that you can use them and say, hey, we're going to refer folks to them so that they can help them with food, they can help them with mental health, they can help them with substance abuse prevention services, they can help them with a host of things that we can't focus on, because our focus are these kids and their focus, our collaborating partners, is to help us with the ancillary service that we don't have the expertise to provide. That's key. That's key. You also want to partner with a community college or a local county college, because we want to be able to access their resources. Project design. The project design is, what is your Freedom School going to look like, which the CDF Freedom School curriculum spells it out for you. All you got to do is pull that data out of there. What's key here is, what is your program design going to look like when you track the Freedom School kids that participated in the summer program throughout the academic school year? What does that look like? That's key. And you need to have an idea of what that's going to look like before you even apply to become a certified Freedom School, if you haven't done so, in October of 2024. So you're going to have your leadership team think this through. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of upfront work, but you have a choice, right? You can say, I don't want the resources from the state because they're just too overbearing, and that's fine. You can do it on your own, but if you're gonna get resources from the state of New Jersey, this is the game you have to play. You just have to, right? The target population, who are they? What ages are they? What's the parents' social economic makeup? Goals. We're asking you for SMART goals. Now, many of you have written goals and objectives in the past. SMART goals brings goals and objectives in one statement. So it's no longer goals and objectives. Now it's SMART goals. SMART goals are specific, well-defined, clear, and unambiguous. They're measurable with specific criteria that measure your progress toward the accomplishment of a goal. They're achievable. They're attainable and not impossible to achieve. They're relevant within the reach, realistic and relevant to the client's life purpose, and they're time-bound. Let me give you an example. 80% of the children that participate in the Freedom School program will improve their proficiency in math, reading, and science by the end of the Freedom School program, August 2024. Boom, SMART goal. It's relevant, it's specific, it's time-bound, it's achievable, and it's like 3 sentences. That's what you got to do, and that's what you got to implement. Carol, you hear me? And there's links here for those folks that have never written SMART goals. I've even gone to the length of finding you research, so you can click on these links to tell you, hey, these are examples of good SMART goals. This is how you got to think through a SMART goal. I'm doing a lot here. Then there's an evaluation component. How will you measure the success of the evaluation? And again, it is improved proficiency or increased proficiency in those classical classes: math, reading, science, history, writing, comprehension, right? How are you going to prove the proficiency of Eddie and Carol in those subjects compared to what their report card said? Now, lucky, if you get all 30 students and they're A students, you're wonderful. I don't think that's going to happen. You're going to get a couple that have C's and D's and maybe a couple of F's. How are you going to improve those grades, and how are they going to fare when the marking period begins? And here's another way that you can prove it. When the semester starts in September, are they in remedial classes because they forgot everything they learned from last year, or are they introduced to the next level of knowledge? So if they're leaving the 5th grade and they're coming and September starts their 6th grade, are they in remedial classes for 2 marking periods, or are they introduced immediately to 6th grade knowledge? That's important to track as well. Then there's the budget. There's $2,000 grant funds, right? You can use for the purchase of technology, $2,500 for a consultant to do all this work that I just said. If you don't have a 501c3, separately incorporated 501c3, you got to do that. If you don't have a grant writer to write this application for you, that's due in February 2023, you got to figure that out. If you never applied for certification for a Freedom School, you got to have that. And so you've got to figure out how you're going to use this money to position you, to get you in position so we can move you along, okay? Required appendices are a board resolution. You have to upload a logic model. You have to upload 3 letters of support, and then you have to upload your previous year's 990 EZ. And remember, I said 2021, so you need to talk to your accountant. Here's the deal. In this grant guideline, once grantees receive their award letter, grantees have 90 days from the date of the letter to upload all required documents in Sage. If required documents are not uploaded within 90 days of receiving the award letter, funding will be rescinded. So it's real urgent that you start working on this now, as opposed to waiting for 90 days. Now, I'm going to run through this real quickly. I'll probably be done in about 15 minutes. So when you access Sage, the www.sage.nj.gov, you get to this page here. By now, you should have registered for Sage, access to Sage. You should have got your email, so you have your username and password. So I'm not going to go through that process. You come in here. This is our testing site. You come in here, you log on, username and password. You click login, and then you get to this page. That Sage is kind of temperamental sometimes, so it takes forever. You get to this page. Now, it won't be as busy as this page is when you get to the real life site, because this is our testing site. But when you get to the My Task page, right, I want you to scroll all the way down to the bottom, where it says View Available Opportunities. Click View Opportunities. Don't worry, I'm recording this. It might sound like a lot. Under Provider, right, you expand the drop-down box and you click NJ_Sage_DOS for Department of State. In the document instance box, you type in social innovation, because the Freedom School grant is nested within the social innovation grant application in Sage. So just follow the steps I'm doing. You click filter. When you click filter, the 2025 application will pop up. But because this is a test site, I got to scroll down to the 2025 application, which is right here, right? You click, it'll say OFBI Social Innovation 2025. And when you access Sage, it'll say for, and then the name of your organization, because you've already registered, or Carol's already registered for you, right? Then you click Apply Now. It'll take you to the agreement page. This link here, Department of State General Funding Guidelines, is a universal template. The application guideline link here takes you back to our grant page on Sage, right? So the most current grant guidelines, when you click here, it'll take you to our webpage. You click I agree. Takes a minute. All right. And then you're on the application page. The first thing we want you to do, right? The first thing we want you to do is go to Forms menu and click Profile Information. Click Profile Information. And when we get to that page, Sage is kind of slow. So it'll do this. You just gotta wait and wait and wait and wait. And plus, this is a test site. Okay, so when you won't see this error sign. When you get to this page, what this page is asking you is, did you complete the additional profile information page that is talked about in this webinar? Because when you complete that page, when you get to this page, it populates all the information from that page onto this page, right? So when you get to this page, you put your name here, Mr. I'm a Jet fan, so I'm gonna put Curtis Martin, because he's the Curtis Martin, and he's a Hall of Famer. That's my only thing of success I got with the Jets going on. Then you come up to the top, you click save, and it'll populate the information from that other page. All right, and then you'll see this green box that says information has been saved. Then you hover over Forms menu. You just have to hover over it. Now that you've done the profile information page, you can go in the order of the pages here, right? Or you can click Save Next. So I'm going to click Save Next. And what Save Next means, it means that it saves this page and it's moving me to the next page in order of this drop-down box. So it's taking me to the selection of grant categories. So I'm going to say Freedom School. I mean, you're going to have to put a title here. And then on the grant category, you want to open up the drop-down box and click New Jersey Freedom School Planning Grant. That's it. Come up to the top and click Save Next. It'll save this page and it will take you to the next page in order, right? Don't get frustrated because this is what Sage does. It's an archaic, it's a little archaic. But once you get the hang of it, it's really easy. All right. So then you're brought to the organization contact information page where you have to, anything with an asterisk you need to complete. So I'm going to say Mr. Joe Namath, let's say, right? And he's New York Jets, and he's on 100 Jet Way, and he's in East Rutherford, right? And he's in New Jersey, and 089. I just put in a fictitious thing, and then it's the telephone number 123-123-1234. Fax, I don't need it because there's no asterisk there. Email is going to be jet@superbowl.com. The website, I don't need it because there's no asterisk there. The project director is going to be Ms. Take Charge. And the address is 100 Jet Way. The city is East Rutherford. I got to fill this in so you got a sense of what's going on, right? The state is New Jersey. And the zip code is whatever it is. And the telephone number is 123-123-1234. I don't need to put a fax number there. And then I'm going to put what was that? jet@superbowl.com. Then the chief financial officer, it's always a woman for me. And it's always, I have no money. All right. And the telephone number is 123-123-1234. No fax. And it's what is it? jet@superbowl.com. And then the funding would be the agency-wide budget. I'm going to make it at $20,000. 2-3. That's completed. You go up to the top and you click save. Sage then populates all this stuff, saves it, and then you move on. Right? Let me see. Do not leave this page. Please correct the errors. Click save again. Let me see what errors. Did I do everything with an asterisk? Asterisk, that's picked, that's there. That's there. I did that. Up.com. There you go. Go up to the top, click save. So from here on out, it's going to be pretty fast. I hope. All right. So now I hover over forms menu and I go to the project summary. From here on out, you need to, or if it's Carol, she needs to have the grant guidelines right next to her on another monitor because there's nothing here to tell you what to put in this text box on the project summary. It's all spelled out in the grant guidelines. So you're going to have the grant guidelines available, and this project summary, the project summary should be the last thing you complete because it pulls from all the data from all the sections that you've completed, okay? But for now, I'm just going to put test. I'm going to go up to the top and click save next so it can take me to the next page. I'm just trying to get through this. All right. And so it's a capacity building. So you got to look at the grant guidelines, which is right here. Organizational capacity, answer those bullets and put that information in here. The maximum character is 4,000. You can't do a lot of fluff stuff. You got to get right to the exact nature of what you're trying to say because you only have 4,000 characters. Now, you think 4,000 characters is a lot? Start writing stuff that just like it's just filler words and you're not saying much in 4,000 characters. All right, then you hover over forms menu, click statement of need. And you get to the statement of need and you follow the grant guidelines, answer the bullets, write all that information there and click save next or save, whichever one you want to do. And I think the next one is statement of collaboration. Yep, statement of collaboration. So you hover over forms menu, scroll down to statement of collaboration. This is key because I'm asking you to upload 3 collaborating partners, right? This is how you do it. So you do org 1 and you write a synopsis of what that letter of support means, right? And you write it in here and you click save. You got to do this 3 times. Well, how do you do it 3 times, Eddie? There's only one box. Watch. Once this is saved, on the top, you're going to see an add button. You see this add button here? You click the add button, it wipes everything out. And then you put the second organization, the name of the second organization, and what they're going to do to help you move your vision for Freedom Schools moving forward. Go up to the top and click save. So this will be your second organization that you put in here. And then you already have 2 here, right? See this drop down box, you already have 2. So you got to do 1 more. Go up to the top, click add. Now this is real cool now because it's November 14th and there's no pressure. You try to do this the day before. See how Sage doesn't work for you. See how your laptop shuts off. See how your dog ate your cable charger and you ain't got no power. All that's going to happen on the day of. So I'm really asking you to not wait to the last minute. Click save, and then all three collaborating partners are here. Hover over forms menu, scroll down, go to project design. All right. You go to project design, perfect. And then you have to, for project design, it's this. Project design, target population, SMART goals, evaluation. That's all here. So you got to answer I'm just putting test, what each section is asking you to write, right? And go up to the top and you click save. Now these text boxes are 5,000 each. So you have a little more, to write on. Go hover over forms menu. Now you go into personnel. Here's the deal. It's $10,000. Who are you hiring for $10,000? In my mind, it should be absolutely no one, right? So if you're not hiring anybody, you leave this blank. Don't even touch, don't fill anything in, don't put a 0, don't put anything. If you really think you need to hire somebody, I don't know why, but if you're not going to pay them FICA or fringe benefits, leave this column alone. If you're going to have a position, say, I don't know what the position would be, but say, I don't know. The staff name is to be determined. The annual salary is what in the world can it be? Let's say it's $20,000. Let's just say that. Weekly hours on this particular, how many hours do they work a week for $20,000? Let's say 25 hours. How many hours are they going to work on this project? You'll say, I don't know, 7 hours, I guess. I don't know. And how much are you asking for the grant? It's $10,000. I mean, how much can you really ask if you're going to need the grant to position yourself to be able to implement the project? So let's just say $1,000. Go up to the top, click save. This really shouldn't be filled out. It should not be filled out. But I can't tell you what to do. If it was a higher grant, then yeah, but it's $10,000 to position you to be able to get the higher grant. Okay, hover over forms menu, scroll down to consultant contractors. This is where you put your money at, right? This is where you get, so if you're a house of worship and you don't have a separately incorporated CDC, you're gonna have to make sure that that happens. If you've never written a grant and you got to write this grant, you got to make sure that that happens. If you never applied for CDF certification, and you've got to do that. You got to make sure that this happens. So maybe I would call this person CDF developer, right? I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. And then it'll be 501c3. Oh, it'd be fund development. And fund development. And what's the last? Oh, and it's CDF certification. Right? Let's say that the estimated cost is $2,500. Oh, hold on. Oh, put it in the wrong place. Let's say the estimated cost for that one person to do all that, which is a steal, by the way. Because if you go to an attorney is going to charge you $7,000 just for your 501c3. And he's going to get it wrong because he's never done one before, right? $2,500. Jeez, I keep putting it over there. Well, here we go. $2,500. And what you're going to charge the grant is $2,500. As an example, go to the top, click save. Oh, I forgot to click this. Damn. It's going to give me an error. Yep, I knew it. Yes. Do consulting services demonstrate a true employee, non-employee relationship as per IRS regulations? Yes, because that person is not a staff of the organization. So you go up to the top and click yes. All right, and then you hover over forms menu. So you've already spent $3,500. You hover over forms menu and you go to other course categories. You're not implementing a project. You're not doing an after-school tutorial program. So what would be your other course categories? You'd have to really think about that, right? So if you got $3,500, I don't know, let's say, like, I'm just trying to fill this out for you guys. Maybe it's travel. Maybe it's for mileage reimbursement for the leadership team. Who knows? And maybe that's $1,000 for the entire team. And then let's say the next one is maybe you guys need to purchase some laptops for the leadership team, since you're going to be doing all these focus groups and talking to communities and trying to figure out the design, right? Maybe you got to purchase a couple of laptops at, I don't know, a good laptop. I mean, if you buy cheap, you get cheap, right? So if this is an opportunity to upgrade your technological capacity, maybe you get a laptop each at, I don't know, what, $600, let's say. And let's say you want to get 3, 6, 12, 1,800, right? Let's see, right? That's it. Times 6 is 18, yeah. All right, okay. And then, I don't know, what would be the next thing, right? Maybe you gotta get some consumable supplies, which is office supplies. You know, maybe you gotta start getting some supplies, you know, pens, pencil, tablets, stuff like that. Let's say that's another $1,000. Who knows? Oops. All right. And then what's another one? Maybe, space cost rental now, because you have a house of worship and you're going to use that space for the planners. You don't got to pay rent. Maybe you got to feed the leadership team, right? So maybe it's light meals, LIGHT meals, leadership team or leadership team. This doesn't mean that it's got to be an extravagant smorgasbord, right? It's just something light for them to get through the night. So let's see what this comes out to. Go up to the top, click save. That's 3, 4, 5, 6. This should be $1,000, not $100. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, go up to the top, click save. We're almost at the stretch run here. Click save. All right, so it's $4,800. Okay, we'll see where we're at. 4,800 plus 3. We're close to 10. you come down to the bottom, you come to overall budget. Now, because you're applying for 10,000, your overall budget should add up to 10,000. I don't think this is adding up to 10,000, but this is just an exercise. If it's not adding up to 10,000, then you got to go back and add money in areas where you think you might need it. Maybe you want to hire a part-time, or maybe you want to hire an intern and you want to put them in consulting contractors. You know, this is an opportunity for you to give somebody a summer job. Who knows? Right? But you go back, make the changes, click save, come to this page, and the only thing you do on this page is click save. It's the only thing you do. And whatever changes you made on the other budget pages, they automatically populate onto this page. All right. So that's it, $8,300. So you got like, I don't know, what, 8, 9, you got $1,700 to go to try to figure out where you're going to put that money, right? Then you hover over Forms menu, scroll down, almost done. Go to required appendices, and a required appendices is saying you need to upload these documents, right? The board resolution, right? So you come up here, click this. I'm just going to throw, oh, no, I don't want to throw that in there. I'm just going to I'll put that headshot in there. Go up to the top, click save. And then once it's saved, you hover over Forms menu, scroll down to the bottom under Appendices. And in Appendices, you upload the 3 letters of support, the logic models. So you would say logic model, right? And then you would upload the logic model. Right, and then you would say letter 1, and you will upload letter 1. And then it would be letter 2, and then you upload support letter 2. And then it would be letter 3, and you upload support letter 3. And then you want to upload your 990EZ. Oh, look at that. It should be 2021. And you upload your 990EZ. You upload everything. You come up to the top and you click save. And for all intents and purposes, the application is done. Hold on. All right. So now you hover over Forms menu, and if you had an error in any one of these forms, you would see the orange stop sign or an orange light. That means you got to go back in there and try to fix wherever the mistake is, right? But because we don't see that, to submit the application, you hover over status change, you apply status for application submitted, you click it, you say yes, 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 submit it. And you won't get an email when the application is submitted. What you will do, though, is you will see a status change. You see where it says current status right here? It'll say application submitted. It'll say application submitted. So that's the entire process. That's the entire process. It's recorded. I'm going to download it. I'm going to send it to Reverend Dr. Patterson. She will then share it with the team. And you need to lean on her to try to get this done by February 2030, if you want to go down this particular path on it. But I think it's a really good opportunity to create an approach that's wholeheartedly supported by this administration and is willing to provide the necessary resources if you can prove through this planning grant process that the Freedom School that you want to implement is needed and is warranted in your local community. Any questions? You're all good to go? All right.
Good to go.
All right. So I have my contact information. It's in the chat. If you have any questions, follow up with Reverend Dr. Carol Patterson. She can guide you further. I'm looking to see at least 7-8 applications out of this crew on February 23rd. If you and your leadership team need more clarity, and Reverend Patterson, if you want me to have one-on-one with the leadership teams and you, I will make myself available anytime between now and 2 weeks prior to the due date. After that, I can give you 15 minutes. All right? All right, everybody.
Thank you for taking us through every step. Does anybody have any comments or questions before we close out?
Nah, they done.
Nope.
They done. They look like my students about
We have to-
30. Glassy-eyed and ready to go. Listen, everybody, it's been a pleasure. I look forward to seeing your applications. Again, if you have any questions, you know how to reach out to Reverend Dr. Carol Patterson. And I'm looking to see great things from this crew. If you have any questions, again, you can reach me. But I really would, if you reach me, I'm gonna steer you back to Dr. Patterson. All right?
Can we close in prayer, Eddie?
Yes, we can. Go ahead, take it away.
Dr. Lassiter, would you close this, please?
Gracious Father, we thank you for this assembly of